Tonight, I'd like to welcome to the Rambling About Washington podcast, host of the award-winning podcast, The Burgundy Zone, my guy, Kyle Roenick, a.k.a. the Podfather. What's going on, man?
It is a pleasure to be on with my man, Rio. I can't thank you enough for having me on, sir. The celebrity Rio, the now newly fan ambassador Rio. It's a pleasure to be on here, sir. It really is. I see you're rocking that new T-shirt the team just sent you.
Oh yeah, they want me to wear this for the meeting tomorrow. I felt like I needed to bust it out right now. I didn't know how it was going to work with a white wall backdrop, but it's working out for me. I appreciate you coming on with me, man, because you guys set the standard for me in the measuring stick for this Washington football team fan podcast stuff, and I love what you guys do over there, man.
Well, I appreciate that, dude. I think that you're being a little bit too nice to us. Like we're all just trying to have fun, man. That's it. And that's at the end of the day, that's all it's about. You're just having fun and talking about the one team that we all love, and for some reason that we all love. But the future is bright.
The future is bright, and yeah, man, we gotta uplift each other and support each other. That division and adversarial thing. And since I'm on the topic, I mean, me and you, we got into a little squabble on Twitter last week. The thing with Twitter is we can't pick up context of words, so things just get lost in translation. So we got a little spicy last week, and people were hitting me like, "Yo, you and Kyle good?" I was like, "Man, we're fine."
No, of course we were fine, and that's my fault because I'm using my lingo and my slang terms and stuff when. Obviously, like you said, you don't get the context from it. And I think that's kind of a lesson for everybody with social media is like maybe the people that you think are attacking you really aren't attacking you. Maybe it is in a different context, but a lot of times there are people ruffling feathers. But no, me and Rio were fine. Dude, it wasn't 5 minutes later you and I were chatting. You even prolonged it, made it like a WWE thing.
Oh yeah, Reed said he definitely would have pitched in on the promo, made like a podcast war. But no, we're not on that type of time. We're not about to be out here fighting over football words on Twitter. At the end of the day, we all want to see the Washington football team in the future Washington blanks succeed. So let's get right to it. I want to hear your fan story. Like you said, there's some reason that we support this crazy franchise. I love this team to death. How did you fall in love with the team, and what keeps you around after all these years of struggling, ineptitude, and off-field circus that surrounds this team on a daily basis?
It's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it as much as I can. But I was born as a Washington fan. You can find pictures of me as a young kid, as a new infant, rocking Washington gear. But when I was around in high school, around that time, they were not good at all. And I kind of left for a year. I cheered for another team. And a lot of people will judge for that, and they'll say, well, you didn't love them, blah, 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 and all that jazz. At the end of that season, that team went far in the playoffs and they lost. And I realized at that point, I was like, as good as they are, I still was not as happy as when Washington won a game this season. So regardless of the winning or not, I know my heart's with this team. And it sucks to say, but I'm married to it at this point. And that's what I kind of realized that day. So what keeps me around is the fact that I know that I just love this team deep down. Like I was a fan of the Nationals when they were losing 100-game seasons. There's strength in that. There is a sort of pride with that when you're sticking with a team when they weren't good at all, laughing stock, and seeing them grow and blossom into something great. And that's what I'm hoping to finally see.
Oh yeah, because it's been a lot of long, let's call them character building seasons here, man. Like, how old are you?
I'm 31.
31. Okay, I turned 30 in October, so we've been through the same struggle. We have witnessed no real relative success with the team. So what we're building right now, it feels so organic, and all these expectations coming from outside markets in the national media. It's kind of a scary time right now because I've never seen us really have legit expectations outside of the season following RG3's rookie year. Like, how do you feel about that right now?
Yeah, because you're absolutely right, Rio. Because when you look at it, in years past, when they did have a good season, they came out of nowhere. They went on a crazy stretch like Sean Taylor's passing year when they made the playoffs and they went and faced Tampa Bay. When RG3's rookie year, there was not, I'm not going to say a gimmick, but it wasn't like concrete. You felt like this team, it could carry over to next year. So all of those good years that we do have, it's like immediately after there's a drop off of a cliff. And so it's short lived, nothing sustainable. And that's why this team is so different, because you want to get excited. You're scared about being excited because you know what generally happens with this team after 1 year. They've shown that consistently. Yeah, it's terrifying. But
it really is.
This is the first time that they have actually built a well-structured team all the way around. I mean, look at this team right now. And yes, they have a couple spots, but there's not many teams in this league that you can look at and say they don't have many weaknesses. And that's kind of how it is with this team right now. It's amazing to see, and it's scary at the same time. It's very, very uplifting to know that we don't know what the future holds, because Lord knows, dude, what if we go on a 5-year run of just controlling the NFC East?
That would be crazy, and that would be unimaginable for me, because just seeing us go to the playoffs 2 years in a row is not something I've been a part of here. Right. And like you said, 05 and 07 finished 05 with like a 5 or 6 game win streak. We finished 07 with like a 4-year win streak with Todd Collins. Yep. 2012, we won 7 in a row after starting 3 and 6. 2015 with Kirk Cousins, we finished the year hot, blazing. I've not seen us have one season we could just go through the year and say, you know what, that's a good team. Not they got hot and got cold, or they got hot late or at the right time. I want to know what it feels like to just consistently feel like you have a chance to get in the dance and compete for a Super Bowl. And it feels like that's what Ron Rivera is putting together here, with all with the collection of young talent that we have here, with the staff, the front office, a full front office, a real front office, and they actually answer questions, and they're actually accessible. This shit is crazy right now. Like, this doesn't even feel like this is my football team, but I love it, and I am so excited about it. And that's why I started to create content and put myself out there. And when you do that, you know, it comes with criticisms. It comes with people meeting it with resist. What got you into creating content surrounding the football team?
It's kind of a long story, and it links into how I kind of got Hall onto the show. But, you know, I've always loved to talk ball, and we have a group of friends, about 10 of us, and we started this show called the Sports Drunkies. And what it was is every Sunday morning we would get together an hour before the kickoff at 12 p.m. We would start drinking beers, and we would go down the fantasy list and talk about each matchup. But over time, I was just kind of realizing this, if I really was going to have fun with this, I was going to have to be a different way. And so I wanted to talk strictly about Washington. I was tired of talking about the rest of the NFL. And so I started about Washington, and I brought on Mike Reed, because I knew him since high school, dude. So I brought him on.
So y'all go way back.
Yeah, and so then after that, after I had Reed on for a little while, once time went by and I knew that nobody else from the Drunkies would really care with Hall being on, that's when I reached back out to Hall. We were working together. We were talking every day. I was like, look, we might as well just hop on the Burgundy Zone at this point. You know what I mean? But yes, the big reason was I just love talking football. I love the game of football. I love this team in particular. Like I said before, I've learned that it's not the winning, it's not the success that drives me in being a fan. It's simply the game of football, and that's what it is.
Oh yeah, love for this sport. This sport rules my life. Does your wife watch it too?
Oh yeah. She's a fan. That's one of our first dates. I actually took her, and I don't want it, to the 2012 game against the Baltimore Ravens when RG3 tore his ACL.
Was there.
I was there with my wife at the time. It was our first date. And I remember when Kirk went in and scored that touchdown to seal the game, or the 2-point conversion. I remember picking her up, and I was like, oh, yeah. And she had like a belly ring. She was like, stop, it's going to burst. But yeah, that was one of the great times. But yeah, she's a big fan. Not as much as I am, obviously, but she's a fan.
That's beautiful. I be trying to get my wife to watch these games with me. Like, she'll watch some basketball with me. Football, she doesn't understand it, but she will tune in during the playoffs and act like she knows what she's talking about, though, because the playoffs are just so damn exciting. Even the casual or novice sports fan can tune in and follow along. To me, football doesn't seem like it's that difficult to follow, but I've been playing since I was 6 years old, like 6 to 18. So I understand the game on a level. Like, I obsess about it. So, but
it's like one of those things where it's like people just see so many people close together. It's too complicated. Things are moving so fast, and it seems like too much. But once you're right, dude, when you play the game for a while, you kind of see it slowed down. You see how things work. It makes it a lot easier.
Especially if you're a junkie like us and you're looking at all 22, you're looking at film, you're looking at cut ups and stuff like that. But that's just the fun in all of this. And that's why this content creation thing, it's fun. Like, it's not for everybody. Like, there's some people who don't want to hear all these different platforms talking about the same team. But at the end of the day, there's a lane out there for everyone. And even though it's floody, murky waters, content always finds its way to the top. And you guys actually won. The team did the first annual Globes this year, where they recognized some fan things, and you guys took home the award for best fan podcast. How did that feel? And how did it feel to go on Twitter and see all of the hoopla and nonsense going on and negativity after that?
First off, it was amazing just to be involved with it all, especially with the 3 other pods. Because we built friendships over the year. Obviously with Burrows and DC Tweet Team, I was helping him when he first started out, like trying to get him go. He would ask me for tips. And then with Freddie and Maddie, like Freddie reached out to me early on and asked me if I would do a voice recording for their show. And I was so happy with being asked that I loved it, and me and Freddie became very good friends. So at the end, it was awesome to be involved with the other podcasts, but to win. It was very, very cool because I wanted it for Hall, I wanted it for Reed and the people that have really backed us and supported us, because it takes a village, and they deserved some recognition for everything that they've done, and I love that. And it sucks that other people had to lose though, because that really did irk me a little bit, that there was people who would be angry about the fact that they didn't win or the way it played out. It makes you feel bad, and I don't want others feeling bad. You know what I mean? But to see all the negativity, it sucks, dude, because you and I were talking before, and you're basically asking people to be adults. And I know it's that kind of sounds like a jab, but basically you're basically telling people just to be grateful that others are seeing something cool. You would love to be a part of that. If you were a part of that, you would not be saying these things. But
Absolutely.
Because you're not, this is why. And if you understand that, then you're happy for that person because you would love to be in that position. And that's the worst part about it all, is that it's just that humans are going to be humans.
At the end of the day, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I can relate with the new fan ambassadorship and some of the stuff I see going on Twitter. But we just got to reel it in, man. When there's no football being played in the off season, we need things to fill up our timeline with, and all that fodder will be forgotten once we see our team hit the field. And the team announced today that there's going to be Friday night football, August 6th. They're opening up FedEx Field to the fans free of charge. The first 20 to 25,000 who download the tickets on Ticketmaster. Are you going to that event, man?
Oh, yes, sir. I booked it as soon as I could. I booked that ticket to make sure to be there. It's one of the things that I thought that Washington should have been doing a long time ago, because when I used to go to games all the time. My dad's company used to have season tickets, so we would be able to go to maybe one a season. And whenever you'd go there, you never felt like it had home field advantage. You felt like they were comfortable being in the stadium. So one of the suggestions I've always had is having a practice at the stadium every year, or maybe before the season starts, just to get the players acclimated to the field and that situation, because it always felt like it was a foreign territory whenever they went there, because they practice in Ashburn and they travel to Maryland once a week just to play there. There's no real attachment, you know what I mean? And so them doing this on Friday nights, I love this idea. Not only because we're going to see the new entertainment team, the laser show, the pyrotechnics, the dance team. But we're also going to see the new playing surface, and that is something that Washington fans have talked about for a very long time. And how bad that field looked in October and November, it was embarrassing. I love the way it's really lame and stupid, but I just love the way grass looks. I'm excited to see how that field, because it can be very beautiful.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely excited to see it, because I got a little peek behind the curtain when I got to do this interview for the Making the Brand documentary that they're working on. They're putting in work in that stadium. I can't really speak too much to it, but you guys will notice the drastic leaps and bounds difference of everything. Just look at the wall. walls, the scenery. They're also for season ticket holders. There's going to be a VIP event, I believe, an hour before the practice starts. We're going to be sampling some of the new food eateries, eating spots that are going to be in the stadium that they recently had at the Flavors of DC event. So that's going to be something really exciting, and I'm going to try to get some content out there for that. And I'm looking forward to see you out there, and I'm looking forward to see you out at camp. You coming down to Richmond next week?
Yes, sir. I'll be there on Saturday for that. I got work all week, so I can't go down until Saturday. Hall and I are going to be traveling. I'm pretty sure my buddy Donnie is coming too. But I reached out to the team, so I'm trying to record there just because, we're traveling from north of D.C., just because, I'm not going to buy a hotel room for the night. We're doing a one-day trip. Just saying, hey, is there anywhere I could just pop up and record? You know what I mean? Just anywhere. I don't need to talk to anybody. Just give me a select location so I can do my thing. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I'm definitely going to get some content while we're down
You're
there.
You're going all 4 days, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be out there all 4 days. All the content creators, when we see each other, we need to all link up, unite like the Avengers, and we need to put out some content, man. I'm so looking forward to getting around the fans, because we were robbed of this experience last offseason with this COVID thing, which perfectly transitions me to the next topic. We're one of the few teams in the league where the vaccinations are really down. I believe we're like the bottom 2 teams with vaccinations. Where do you stand on all this?
No, I don't really care,
Me neither.
Just because I'm not going to tell you what you should and should not put in your body. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. So, do your thing. I hope the best, I'm not the worst part about it is the people that are like, think of the team. What if we lose games? That should be the last of your worries if this person gets COVID. Okay. I understand that is a situation, but these are people. Who cares about the game at that point? But look, it's your personal choice. It is what it is. I don't know how in the past year and a half people have developed this sort of ability to be able to tell others what they should do and put inside their body. It's very, very weird to me. But I'm not going to be part of one of those.
Exactly. I'm not going to be one either. And honestly, I don't even want to go too much deeper on the topic. I just thought I'd get your thoughts on it, to be perfectly honest. But we're in July. We're almost at August, and we're a year past losing the old moniker, the Redskins. We're still the Washington football team. Of the remaining choices, what do you think is a realistic name that may actually, if you had to put some money on it today, what do you think the name's going to be? And do you think it's going to come out before the 2022 date that they plan to release it?
No. I do think that date that they had put out there is very specific, and I do think they are sticking to that timeline. I would not be surprised, though, to see it way before, just because of how can I say this? Based off what the reaction was off of Warriors and how many likely names that they have, that they can cut down in between the time of when they cut the Warriors off and when they're going to unveil, you can't have that much time in between. People are going to go crazy just trying to think, when's the name? I would not be surprised to see it go beforehand, just for them to say, we know what it is. There's no reason to keep beating this dead horse and drag this out. Let's get it pushed. That being said, probably the smartest thing is to wait for the offseason, though, Rio. I mean, just because you wanted to unleash right before the draft, all the new draft picks, free agents, they got all their new gear. They can look really fly, look good. They want to be part of the new image because that's a real cool thing. But I really hope it's before that 2022 date, Rio. I really hope so.
I hope so myself. And me personally, I think the team is going to stick with we're probably going to get it sometime in January or February. But I'm not sure. There's a lot of loose lips out there, and this is such a big deal. Someone out there is going to try to be first, and you have to do deals with merchandisers, with Nike, trademark. That's a lot of paperwork changing hands and a lot of eyeballs on pieces of paper. And somebody out there is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to tell somebody about this and trust that they're not going to put my name into this. I hope that doesn't happen, but at the same time, I'm so excited to know what it's going to be. What do you think the name's going to be?
Dude, I really don't know. I've said for a couple months that I thought that the name was going to be something that we aren't thinking of. just because the way that Jason Wright explained it when we talked with him, and hearing him on the that one app meeting that we did, and to hear him say that, we want to unveil this in a way that you guys deserve it, which makes me feel like it wants that pop. They want the pizzazz about it. They want to really that kind of moment with it. And that's why I feel like it's going to be something we're not expecting. And that's why there was so much attention on only a couple of them. You know what I mean? And so if I was going to pick one, I don't think it's going to be an animal. I don't think it's going to be like any like being. But I do think it's going to be like something like, not gladiators, but like the Force or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
something like that. Okay, something powerful, something
right.
strong and strength.
Because basically the way I'm thinking is the politics of this name change is unprecedented. No other organization has really had to go through this to this magnitude and this much of a microscope on it and what's being done. I mean, look, Native Americans are actually having a say in which name is okay and what's not. That's never happened before. So the politics of this is making it very, very specific. There has to be a checklist of things you have to go down, and there's only a few that really cross that off. So, and that's why I kind of feel like it's one of those powerful names you can't tie to any negative thing to take it away, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. And see, I look at it two ways, and this is my personal opinion. I'm not speaking on from the team or anything. I think it's going to go either one or two ways. They're either going to lean towards the fans and say, you know what, this Red Wolves mob has been insane. You guys never let us breathe. It's been pushing for a year now, but we're not going to give you red with it, but we're going to give you the Washington Wolves because there's alliteration. It's very marketable. I think it's going to be that. Or they're going to lean on the military DC aspect of it, and we're going to get a name like Commanders because Commander-in-Chief, DC, Commanders, military, it checks boxes, it checks the political box, the geographical box. I think those would be my two I would put as favorites because you're going to check a mean box, and I think if you market Wolves the right way, they can separate it from any Native American imagery, and you can even still just market around the W because I really like what they're doing with the W, man. What do you think about a W logo that currently exists?
I love the W logo. I love everything that they're doing with it. I wish they could take that little italic streak off of it, off the end of it, and just make it straight. Obviously, but the Nats own that symbol, obviously. I like the Commanders. I like the idea of the military kind of backing of the name. Obviously, I was for the Warriors. That's no mistaking. But, like, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. That's why I feel like it's going to be one of those, like, force strong kind of words.
The journey.
Right, like something like not justice, but like watching independence, like something like that, like where there's nothing that can bring it down or tie it down at any point in time. And that's what I'm kind of realizing with this is I should have realized that this was a bigger issue way back when. But as much as I think it's stupid why they took it away, because I think there's a lot of names that you could take away with that. But we're not going to sit here and cry over spilled milk, man.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we love the team, and no matter what the team calls itself, just please make sure the uniforms and the merchandise looks good because that is just as important as what the name is. Given 18 to 24 months put into this rebrand, the rollout should be epic. There should be an epic rollout involving fans, players, alumni, all kinds of. I better see a cool trailer like the way that the Seattle Kraken rolled out that name in those uniforms. That is how it's done. It needs to be an event, and it seems like Justin is drawn just enough momentum and anticipation up that it's just going to explode when it comes out, and that's what I really want to see out of it.
Could you imagine the new name, like when they unveil it, like a commercial they release on social media, and like it's a tunnel going out to the field, it's black, and then all of a sudden Joe Gibbs lights up at the end of the tunnel with the new merch, and he's like, "We're the Washington Blanks." Dude, I will flip out.
Oh yeah, that was Oh my God, the reaction videos will go crazy that night. The emergency podcast.
If Gibbs does it, nobody will tarnish it, dude. If Gibbs does it, everyone will love it.
Literally, if Joe Gibbs was to announce the name, it could be love it because Joe Jackson Gibbs He's a legend, man. He's like, I don't want to hear any slander ever come his way. This guy took 3 different quarterbacks and won Super Bowls with him. That does not happen in football. And
nobody does that.
I heard you tell it. Yep, no one does that. And that's another good transition in the segue, because I heard just Michael Jordan story yesterday. And when you guys were talking about meeting celebrities, do you have any Washington football team stories of the sort? Because I actually met Joe Gibbs one time. I was about 12 years old, coming from a draft party. 12 or 13 years old, I was coming from the draft party, and my parents said we needed to leave early to go somewhere, and I was pissed. I was livid. I was like, I want to stay till the last festivity ends. Like, I was pissed. And on our way out the stadium, here comes Joe Gibbs with a couple security guys being driven in a golf cart, and he stopped, took a picture with us, and signed some autographs for us. I'd never seen my dad fan out like that. Like, my dad could not believe it. I was like, Pop, that's Joe Gibbs. And he was like, that's not Joe Gibbs. And he just stood there for a second. Was, oh my God, that is Joe Jackson Gibbs. Like, that was a crazy story. And if we didn't leave early, I would not have met the greatest coach in this franchise history. Do you have any stories like that?
Just, I guess 2. I guess the 2 is Keenan Robinson. When he was here, when I was working at the building, I was walking out and he was walking in, and I was like, "You're Keenan Robinson." He's like, "Yeah." He kept walking. But the other one was Bruce Allen. He held the door open for me, which was absolutely insane. I was walking out to the truck to get some material out or get some tools, and I come out and I see Bruce Allen, all shiny red face, and he opens the door, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Allen." He's like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it, son." And he walked inside. Yeah, that was yeah, he held the door open for me. That was nice of him.
Did he call you Kurt?
No, he did not. No, he did not. I wish he did, though. That has to be one of the biggest anomalies. Like, I know a lot of crazy crap has happened here in Washington, but the fact that the team president couldn't get the starting quarterback's name right. I mean, look, everyone's gonna sit here and say he was trolling him the whole time. I get it. But there is a literal glimmer of chance that Bruce Allen really is that stupid. You know what I mean?
I think so. It almost felt like it wasn't blatant, and he honestly did not know the distinction between Kirk and Kurt and which one his was. Like, because it got to a point where it was like, no, I think he really doesn't know what Kirk's name is.
It's like he never read about Kirk. He only talked only talked about Kirk. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't read anything about him to spell how his name was. He just always heard how his name was pronounced, and he kept calling it Kurt, because that's what he thought it was. That was one of the craziest things. I know there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened here, but that was so weird and so stupid.
Yeah, it was very bizarre to me. It was kind of like, I view Bruce Allen kind of like Ron Burgundy. Like, they handed him memos and statements to read, and if there were typos on it, he was gonna read that shit. And it felt like it was like a rolling joke. Like, yo, let's keep calling Kurt and see if Bruce figures out that it's a mistake. And Bruce never did. And that's more than enough time to talk about Bruce Allen on this show, because he does not deserve any of our time right now. I know you're a busy guy. I got a couple lightning round questions for you, and I'm gonna let you get on with your night, man. First up, what is your favorite TV show of all time, boss?
Oh man, I'm gonna get judged so hard for saying this.
Open yourself up to criticism.
I absolutely love the show Psych. There's another Twitter fan of 703. She's a Virginia Tech fan. She's a huge fan of Psych as well. I absolutely love Psych because it's funny. It has like the investigative kind of like crime scene aspect with it, but both guys are absolutely hilarious in it, and every single episode is going to have you laughing. You can watch every single one. Like
I've seen some of it. It's great.
I absolutely love it. I love that show, and I'm glad that they're coming out with a movie. I wish they were coming back with the shows, because I've been trying to find the shows so I can rewatch them, but it's so hard without the Hulu subscription, whatever the hell it is.
Oh, okay. So they're coming out with a movie. Is it going to be like network based or like a movie?
I think it's going to be. I think it has like exclusive rights on one of those networks, like the Hulu, like not Netflix, but it's going to be like on one of those, not like actually on at the movie theater.
Oh, so that's legit. Okay.
Yeah, dude,
for me,
my show, bro.
Hey man, I feel you. You got to ride with it, man. Open yourself up to criticism. Not everybody's going to agree, but that's the fun in this.
What's your favorite show, Rio?
There's like a 1A and a 1B, but all right, I'm going to give it to you. Breaking Bad and
Okay. Breaking Bad is
Game
great.
of Thrones for me are my favorite shows of all time. But Breaking Bad probably is number one all time for me because they stuck the landing at the end of the show, and Game of Thrones didn't. And that is the one thing that held it back. But Game of Thrones seasons 1 through. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah. All of them.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a huge spectacle.
Okay.
Spectacle with our friends. Loved Game of Thrones. I mean, when when Jon Snow is getting on top of what's his face? Oh my goodness, what's his name?
Drogon?
No, not
Drogon.
The bad dude that that cut off the one dude.
Ramsay Bolton.
When he got on top of Ramsay and was beating his face, my wife was in the other room. I was watching a show and I was literally on my bed like, beat his fucking face in. I was so into it, dude. I was all into that show. I loved it. But I will say, loved Breaking Bad. I haven't watched Breaking Bad like I have with Game of Thrones. Just because of how much everyone talked about it and like kind of like already knowing what's going on. Because one of my best lines I love to say is, I am the one who knocks. Like that is probably one of the best lines I've ever heard. My buddy pulled it up on YouTube, showed me the 2-minute clip, and I was like, oh my God, that's the best line I have ever heard. It's perfect. And it's one of the bucket list items for me and my wife to watch that.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones though, it's just a whole different animal. Like that show, until you actually sit down watch it, you don't understand the magnitude of it. The cast, the ensemble, it's so good. There are so many great elite actors who were not household names before they got on the show. And Peter Dinklage is so good.
And the worst part is that it was so good that it got so big to the point where it was so expensive for them to record that they had to basically cram everything into a season. And that's the worst part about it is that it got kind of cheap in a way that they had to limit the product and not give us the pure entertainment that we wanted. And plus HBO was coming up with the last 2 seasons. They had to go a different route to George R.R. Martin. They tried to right his wrongs and stuff, and the good people were living, the bad people were dying, and it was just it's too perfect for Game of Thrones. It's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's not how it's supposed to be at all, and the ending was just so undeserved. And that show makes me know like I'm watching Marvel, and I can't wait for the last book. I can't wait for Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring to come out so I can know how this story was actually supposed to end, and if it ended anything like the show, was it deserved and earned? But I'm gonna move on to the next question.
Say, before we move on, I will say I think that was by design because they met with George R.R. Martin when they were writing, and I think they purposely went different directions because George R.R. Martin didn't want them to spoil his ending, and so out of respect, they went a different route just to have everyone be okay with it. But I do think that he's gonna make it a lot better.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see what he does with it. This is a topic that I always get crucified for this one on social media. What is your most overrated movie of all time? I'll start. Mine is Scarface.
Oh, really? You didn't like Scarface?
People kill me for that movie. It's okay. I just think it's overrated. It's not a bad movie. It is not a great movie to me. I feel like it's paced terribly. Dude. I feel like the last act is great, and it's not Pacino's best work for me.
Oh no, 100% it's not. But I will say, dude, I know the ending is great, but the chainsaw scene is absolutely incredible. I mean, you are literally sitting there like, oh my God, this guy's getting cut up right now. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
When he drops the dude out of the helicopter, oh God. It has its parts. I love Scarface for what it's worth, but it's like one of those things where it's like Star Wars. It was great back then with everything that was available, but now it doesn't have the same awe with it. But I respect that, dude. I mean, I can understand why you'd say that. I understand.
Yeah, I just don't. I would give me the first 2 Godfathers and give me Goodfellas and The Departed. Give me all those movies over Scarface. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it was paced bad. Pacino was fine in it, but I think people just fall in love with the character and the whole rags to riches narrative.
Like,
what is your most overrated
Scarface?
Movie? Hell yeah. It is very cool. It's very hipster to love Scarface. Hell yeah. What do you think is the most overrated movie in your opinion?
most overrated movie of all time. I'd probably say like Twilight or some like the Twilight staring compilation. They'll literally like there's videos on there of people taking their stare scenes when they're just staring at one another, and they put them all into a row and they have you watch it. And when you look at it, you're like, oh my god, all these people did for 30% of the show of the movie is stare at each other. There's no acting here. But yes, I understand the book was great. My wife loved the books. She liked the movies. She actually watched the movie like a couple of days ago, and she was like, I never realized how bad the acting was.
I want to rewatch them because I've only seen them when I was in high school and right around the time we graduated, and they were a big thing at the time. I mean, we're similar age, so you already know. Yeah. But I wouldn't call them classics or anything, but I enjoyed them. I really liked the Twilight movie. I want to see how, as an adult, like how I feel about the movie, because there's some movies that just do not hit the same. Like right. I used to think Titanic was like the worst movie ever because I watched it way too young. I watched Titanic 3 years ago for the first time as an adult, and I was blown away, and I was friggin' sobbing in tears at the end of the movie. I was not ready for I was not ready for it.
Dude, I understand what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying, because there are some like subliminal messages with everything in that movie. You know, Jack is a poor kid goes through the rich side, and he's kind of looked down at and everything like that, and then he takes her, the rich girl, down to the poor section where they're having fun, everyone's drinking, having a good time, dancing, and everyone's just happy, you know. And it's kind of like there are a lot of messages with it. I do agree. I when I watched that movie in theaters, I was like in third grade, dude.
Hell yeah, same. I was way too young for that movie. I watched it a couple years ago and was like, this shit is a masterpiece. Oh my god,
dude. I know, and we were so bad at the end of the movie when people were like bouncing off the guardrails. Like me and my cousin were like, oh, like we were so bad. We were bad kids.
I feel you. Like I could not appreciate a movie like that as a child, and now I watch it as an adult.
Band at the end, dude.
Oh my god, playing when oh my god, when the Celine Dion song comes on. Just all the feels hit me. The waterworks came out. I had chills.
There was like, room on the raft, Rio. There was room on the raft.
There was definitely room on. Yeah, Rose definitely ain't shit for that. I'm gonna judge her forever. Like
it's been 84 years.
Great story, but that was selfish as hell. All right, I got two more for you, and we can call it an episode. This is fun, man. This is a good episode, man. I really like this one.
It's awesome.
If you were forced to be a fan of another NFL franchise, you have to be. What team are you picking and why?
Oh, damn it. It's the Packers. I've known about it. I want Washington to be Green Bay so badly, just like in every facet. Like, you know, we had friends in our group that were Packer fans, and like going through all of the turmoil with everything with Washington, and I would just look at it like, why can't we be the Packers? Like, why can't we just do things correctly? Why can't half of the football operations be owned by fans? Why can't fans have a bigger voice? Why can't we have sustained success? You know what I mean? And have a good structured organization and do things correctly and not have to go and spend 5 draft picks just to get a quarterback. Why can't we draft one in the later end of the first round and get lucky? Why? So if I were to pick it, it'd be Green Bay, just because they fit the mold of like kind of what I want Washington to be, and that's just how it always has been for me.
Okay, and I don't even have to expound much on this because my answer is pretty much a carbon copy of what you just said, but with a different franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep. You knew exactly where I was going. What if they had 3 coaches in the history of their franchise? We get 3 coaches a decade.
Yeah, I was supposed to be a Steelers fan. My family, my ancestors came from Germany in early 1900s. And they came through New York, and they lived in Pittsburgh. My grandpa came down from Pittsburgh with the family. I think my dad was born in Pittsburgh. They came and moved down here to Maryland from that point. So, but I hate the Steelers. I got friends that are Steelers fans. It made me hate them, dude. I'm telling you, you cannot have a conversation and not be pissed off this dude when talking about it. I cannot stand the Steelers whatsoever, but I will say I respect the hell out of them.
I respect him.
Mike Tomlin. A lot of people say a lot about Mike Tomlin, but I love Mike Tomlin. I would go to war for him.
I love him. Oh yeah, Mike Tomlin looks just like Omar Epps. I always think that's hilarious too. Like he has him in the biopic one day. But yeah, the Steelers are I just envy them. Like every time I know a Steelers fan, I just envy their experience in life as a Steelers fan. I feel like if you could put 3 teams and combine the Green Bay Packers fanship classic stadium and all that stuff with how well the Steelers organization is ran, and then throw in the way that the Ravens draft, that is the perfect NFL team. And I would have to put those 3 names in a hat and pick one if I was forced to be a fan of another team. But at the end of the day, fuck the Ravens, though. I don't like the Baltimore Ravens. I respect Ozzie Newsome and Eric DaCosta, though. I love how they do business over there, but yeah, we don't. I'm from the DMV. We don't rep Baltimore around.
No, Ozzie, I respect the hell out of Ozzie, dude. That dude is the man, and it sucks what happened with Cleveland because they could have really done some good with the Cleveland Browns, but unfortunately, that owner had to get involved, right? But the Steelers, though, dude. What was I gonna say? Oh my God! Of course I forgot it. What I was gonna say, but I think it was about their quarterbacks. But it's absolutely amazing. Oh, Mike Tomlin pissed me off with that comment he made about Chase Young. You know, I love you, Mike Tomlin.
Oh,
yeah. Don't throw those little jabs at my team, dude. Don't throw those jabs at my team. I love you, but no.
He said
he's right. Though. He's right. He's 100% right. He's 100% right.
I don't ever want to lose enough games to get a guy like you, Chase. Oh man, it felt good and bad at the same time. Like, that's such a backhanded ass compliment.
Right. You know the Steelers had, like, I'm pretty sure for 30 straight years they had a linebacker who was in the Pro Bowl. Like, and I think it ended, I think, about 10 years ago. But for 30 straight years they had a linebacker who's in a Pro Bowl. That is disgusting, dude.
That's not realistic. Like,
No.
What the hell, man? Oh my God. And I got one more for you. You can plug your stuff and we can get going. Next year, 2022, the Washington Blanks will open the season with who behind the center? You have to bet your entire life savings on it. Who's going to be starting for the Washington football team? Keep your wife in mind. Keep your wife in mind and your kid when you think about it.
If I had to bet money for 2022, honestly, the best option, Deshaun Watson.
The best. Oh, Deshaun Watson. Oh, spicy. So that means that he is unequivocally cleared from all of that nonsense, and it was proven that it was a smear campaign.
Yes, the only reason I'm saying Deshaun because I have to bet everything I have. Because with Aaron, I can't guarantee that Aaron want to come back to Washington because, you know, he'd want to go to Cali. He want to go back home. He's a California boy. He wants to smoke, what is it, the frog venom, toad venom, whatever the hell his girlfriend was smoking. He wants to do all that stuff. He wants to go back to Cali where they can do all that stuff. And then with, like, Russell Wilson, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to leave Seattle. And if he did leave Seattle, either. I don't think that he's going to be coming to Chicago. I don't think he's coming to the East Coast besides New York. I think if he's coming to the East Coast, it's New York. And then with the draft class, I don't know where they'd be picking. Because the one rookie quarterback I want them to have is Spencer Rattler.
Rattler. Thank you. We're right on the same page.
I know everyone wants to talk about his QB1, about his high school, but everyone is a douche in high school. I get it.
Exactly.
It's when you're a douche, when you're 26, around a bunch of vets, telling them, what can I do to help you? That's a douche. That kid in high school, he can learn and grow up and become a man. And if he hasn't by now, then yes, he does not warrant of the draft pick. But my God, Rio, that kid can throw a freaking 60-yard rope.
Hell yeah.
It's gross.
Hell yeah. I call him Albino Mahomes. Like, dude, I love Spencer Rattler, man.
I mean, seriously, he does look like Mahomes in a way. He does kind of. But he's rocking the Jordan brand. Dude, he just looks like this. He's going to do well.
He's already cashing in now that college players can get paid. I'm telling you, he's the guy next year. I know everybody's on Sam Howell and stuff. I do not care about that QB1 stuff. He was in high school, first of all. And honestly, I don't care if the quarterback's a bit of a douche as long as he puts the work in. Dwayne Haskins, none of his dumbass characteristics would have mattered if he was in the goddamn film room, had proper mechanics, and could throw a goddamn touchdown when it mattered. But he wasn't.
Rivera said it best, right? Some guys love to play the game of football. Some guys love what the game of football gives them.
Exactly, and he was clearly in it for the celebrity. I'm all in. My prediction is we're trading up for Spencer Rattler, whatever it takes. after we win the division again next year. I don't know if he's going to start because Fitzpatrick might be here to start another year, but Spencer Rattler will be in the QB room in Washington in 2022, and it's going to be met with resistance, but I promise you, if we draft Spencer Rattler next year, he's going to be the right guy because I think he's going to go on a Heisman campaign, and he's about to light it up this year with a real offseason, not a COVID offseason.
I hope he doesn't light it up, Rio. I hope he doesn't. I want him to get as far down the list as he possibly can so we don't have to trade up for him, to be perfectly honest with you. Hey, you're absolutely right. Can you imagine this wide receiving core with a gunslinger like Spencer Rattler, who can throw on the run, who can get outside the pocket, make plays with his feet? Yes, he does have to get better with checkdowns and everything like that, but you would rather have a quarterback that does everything and doesn't do the small things right than you rather have a quarterback who only does the small things right. You know what I mean?
You got a foundation.
Right, exactly. Having the ability to throw it a 60, 70-yard bomb is more than enough reason to draft him in the first round. He's accurate. And I just love his game, the way he plays, and the way he wears the Jordans, everything. It just flows, man. It just works.
I love it. Definitely. I want Spencer to DC 2022, but we're far away from there. And I've enjoyed this, man. I had a great time with you on the pod today, man. I appreciate you for coming on, man.
Now, of course, it's a great time, Rio. Like I've said before, you have great energy. It's awesome to come on and talk football with you. You make it easy because it's a great conversation. It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, man. You can go ahead and plug your show before you get out of here.
Oh, of course, guys. I'm sorry. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at the Burgundy Zone, the Podfather you can also search for. But Reed is also in Hauler on Twitter as well. But you can find our podcast, iTunes, YouTube, Google Pod, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. We are all over the place. But also we have articles that are coming out in a 10-part series that's coming out twice a week from Michael Reed talking about the dumpster fire stories that made Washington the dumpster fire over the years. 10-part series that Reed's coming out with. So go to theburgundyzone.com to get the latest of those.
Y'all heard them, man. And congrats on launching the website, man. That is awesome. Congrats on that. And congrats on being a father, man. How's those first few months of fatherhood treating you, man?
Dude, it kicked our ass. I'm not gonna lie to you. Little man was whooping our butt, but it's kind of a growing process as parents, because at first we didn't understand that the formula we were giving him, it wasn't meshing with him at all. As soon as we switched that formula, dude, he was a completely different baby, and he started really picking up weight and everything, and we just started sleep training last week, and now he's sleeping 11 to 12 hours a night. So for the first time in 5-6 months, we're sleeping really, really well.
I remember those restless nights, and just like anything else in life, there's no right or wrong way to parent. You just got to find your rhythm, find your groove, and then you can sleep again. But that's going to do for today's episode of the Rambling About Washington podcast. You can check my YouTube, Rambling with Rio, and you can check my podcast, the Rambling About Washington podcast, on Apple, Spotify, Google, the whole nine. Until next time, hail to the nameless football team. Deuces.